floating upon that virtual world, how to protect it. So we have certain measures that could be taken up in order to see that up to what extent the data is protected. Firstly, we have to start it with ourselves, that we have to limit the access, we have to limit the audience with whom we are sharing the data. Secondly, that what are the rules, regulations, laws taken as the initiative from the part of our government. So these two have to make a balance in order to create a cyber world with no threats or with no risk. But it is very far to reach as if we are talking at the present age, because there are so many of cyber crimes, cyber attacks are happening. So as ma'am was talking about the honey trap or the other examples that we know has become very popular being in this 21st era of internet. So measures that we can seek to protect this world from the cyber attacks. First, to limit the audience, that who can use, who can see, who can look into the data shared by you. You are the responsibility, you are the first who is responsible actually. The later comes at the second place, right? And second, that what kind of network, up to what extent the network is secured. The network could be secured by various ways again. So you have to cross-check that you yourself are securing your data firstly, and then we need the laws and legislations to work upon the rest of the things. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. As ma'am said, the privacy is the key. So as the protection of that, you must be knowing about GDPR and DPDP Act. So as the protection of personal data, that is becoming increasingly useful and critical thing. So the context of evolving privacy regulation such as GDPR and DPDP Act, these are the privacy protocols, and compliance measures such have become indispensable for each and every individual as well as organizations. So these are few of the basic best practices can be involved, just like access control, regular audits, then employee training, if we are talking about any organization, and data privacy, incident response plan, and the data backup. But if you talk about individual, activate two-factor authentication. So no one wants to have a check on their code again and again, but this is additional layer of security which can ensure that your account or information is secure, even if someone gets their hands on passwords. So these are few of the things. Apart from that, awareness is the key role. Awareness is very much relevant when we are talking about data protection at an individual level or at organization level. Ma'am, I would like to ask one thing, if you can answer, that how has the evolving landscape of the digital world impacted the priorities and strategies for ensuring data security within the organization?
Thank you so much, ma'am, and thank you, INBA, for inviting me today. Like ma'am asked that how are we, the impact exactly. I'll take a simple example first. How many of you stay in hostel? Have you ever experienced hostel life? Most of you, right? If you see, sometimes we are, we want to gift something to our roommate on birthdays, and we search for it online. And the moment we search it, somehow in her Instagram profile, she already knows I'm gifting her a dryer because of the search that I have done from my end. It's because of the same networking. Like ma'am told that we do not know how secure network are we using. Even if I'm using my own geo network, sometimes it will happen that because of the location of my location matches with the location of my roommate, we both get the same ads on Instagram. Second thing, like ma'am rightly pointed out about awareness. all of us know we have come down to an era where we have started wearing smartwatch. I'm sorry I don't wear one. All of us, we have a habit of, we check the sleep cycle. I don't know what will we get from it, but you check the sleep cycle, you check the heartbeat rate, not that it is accurate, or by the time you realize your heartbeat is going low, you cannot reach to the hospital. It's not helping, sorry. But that smartwatch that you wear, you usually wear it as a assistive device. It's an assistive device that we say. And that smartwatch that you're wearing, it will ask you for every kind of information, and sometimes even your gallery. Do you really need to give the permission of access to your gallery? No. You don't need a smartwatch to have access to your gallery. But because of the non-awareness and subconscious mind, you click on I accept, and I accept, which is not required. You don't even have to give the access to your contacts for that matter. But you only have to give access to the heartbeat. That's it. But you subconsciously give that access to the contacts, gallery, and whatnot. So these kinds of awareness, it has to be self-inflicted. You cannot have it from someone else. Similarly, like, we have started using a lot of, again, I don't know how to tell it. I'm not so old, but the younger generation has a lot of anxiety somehow, like more than us. And somehow for even not coming to class, they have a reason of anxiety, which I'm not sure, even if my father is fully paralyzed, I don't get it as of now. So that anxiety that you're talking about, you talk it online. You keep on telling it to Practo. You talk to AI assistive technologies that I'm mentally feeling low because my boyfriend is toxic. You keep on sharing these things online, which is not required. There are humans for a reason. You are humans for a reason to give that mental support. And when you come to health sector, like ma'am told, that organization, the organization can be education, can be health, can be any sector. If you have seen a series called Breathe, you have watched a series called Breathe. One simple leak in the health data, that was the list of organ donors. The leak of the list of organ donors led to murders because Madhavan wanted the heart for his son to survive. So becoming that, when we are talking about personal data, having GDPR and following GDPR till we got Data Protection Act. Now, very smartly, the Data Protection Act was also renamed to be Digital Data Protection Act. Not just Data Protection Act. Data is the new oil, very clear. Privacy is a myth, very clear. But when we are talking about Digital Data Protection Act, here health sector becomes very important because they're very nicely divided three kinds of information. Personal data information, sensitive personal data information, critical sensitive data information. And when it comes to health, it comes to your sexual orientation, it comes to your diseases, it becomes critical sensitive information. And this generation needs to understand that sharing problems of having a toxic boyfriend is also critical sensitive personal information. It is something very personal to you, which can lead to a lot of mental agony for yourself. So these laws are to be implemented. The impact is very high. People can buy that data, share it online, as simple as getting calls for health insurances or getting calls for insurances for your car. It is because of the data they have got just because you have bought a new car and you have not agreed to sharing that information, but somehow it has come to their hands. We need to understand there that in India, can right to be forgotten, right to eraser, that we have come across now from GDPR, the 10 principles of data protection, in India, is it really possible? That implementation in India is needed, and the younger generation needs to understand what to share and what not to share, like ma'am rightly pointed. So ma'am, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Hello. Thank you, ma'am. You rightly pointed out the intricacies of digital privacy protection and this thing. So again, further I want to brief you about nowadays phishing attacks and fraud attempts are quite realistic. So, and sometimes it can be nearly impossible to identify when something is real or fake. you must have knowledge of deep fakes nowadays, and increasing rise of cases of deepfakes. So in case of doubt, check for misspelling, grammatical errors, and a sense of urgency, a demand for money immediately, or anything else that seems a bit off to you. With the rise of digital world and the increased importance on customer data to make better business decisions, keeping your data safe can seem almost impossible. But follow these tips and tricks, you will be data privacy and security expert in no time. Privacy is very much crucial, whatsoever we briefed. So just follow that. And while security measures aim to protect them from harm, so however, security often requires access to private information, as you rightly said, which can create a conflict with the right to privacy. So striking a balance between security and privacy is crucial. So these are the two different terms, security and privacy. So this is crucial and for creating a safer internet while also upholding human rights. So the debate on this topic of data security is multifaceted and with various stakeholders providing differing perspective. Some argue that privacy is a fundamental right and should be protected at all cost. And others argue that security concerns often overweigh individual privacy rights. I just want to ask you, Doctor, that can you highlight a few key strategies or recommendations that individual and organization should prioritize to enhance their data security postures?
Thank you, ma'am. Well, talking about the key measures in order to protect the data or to secure our data, first of all, as I've already discussed upon one thing, that we can obviously limit the audience to whom we are sharing the personal